Ladies, I'm going back to my roots. Divorce. This is how to get through divorce without going broke or crazy or becoming an alcoholic. I'm in the Middle East. We have a lot of crazy women who can't get over their divorce. Separate the money, separate the money, separate the money. You will never really be friends again. You know, a lot of us got married very, very young, and it just happens. No one's to blame. You know, again, I had this a lot with mine. Who cheated? Who did this? It's so important to have all of those things. You've lost your job. Well, I mean, most of you get your CV and go and try and get another job, or you get a side hustle, or. You can't just sit down for the rest of your life because the first one didn't work out. No one would get anywhere, would they? Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored with Caroline Stanbury. And today I'm going back to my roots. You asked, I answered. We're going to talk all things divorce and how to survive them. And actually, I think because now it's been almost 6 years since I got divorced, and, you know, I think I forget that people are going through it every day, and I get sort of all these questions. And actually, I received an email yesterday which kind of kicked me into doing it. And I don't want to steal her content, so I'm going to credit her for it. But Kaya Smith sent me this email that I've got here, actually. And it basically said how to get, divorced without going broke or crazy, which got me thinking again. Because, I'm in the Middle East. We have a lot of both. We have a lot of crazy women who can't get over their divorce. You know, I have a girlfriend of mine who got divorced probably the same time as me. And her husband is still taking her in and out of court, still, turning off their light bills and, their lights in the house, still driving her nuts the whole time that she couldn't travel. She didn't have the freedom, which is crazy to me because, I think one of the big perks of getting divorced is freedom, which is also funny because I have married a grandfather who also sort of doesn't like to go out as much as me. But anyway, the one thing I would say is, there are so many tips to getting divorced. I have a girlfriend now getting divorced, and the husband's already got a girlfriend. And I've always said to my friends, because, I've got another girlfriend actually who's going through it. I think they got divorced a couple of years ago or separated, but never got divorced. And now the husband's got a girlfriend, like a serious one. And I always say, like, my biggest piece of advice is, as soon as you know you're going to do it and lawyers are instructed and everything else, and you try and keep it nice, separate the money, separate the money, separate the money. You will never really be friends again. And it's not like you're going to be friends, but this will be the best part of a divorce, probably at the beginning, because, although you're hurt and, when one person's hurt and if he's left you, normally there's a little pang of guilt. So, he might treat you a little better financially. I would say go for it then, personally, because I don't think it ever gets better than that. Because when a man meets somebody else, from then on in, he's thinking about that person, not his old life. And that is the problem. So you want to discuss money as soon as you can. And I know it seems brutal because when you're going through divorce, like I know when I was going through mine or started mine, I felt guilty. And, I was more worried about where the kids were going to live, how we were going to do it. We discussed, I think I told you all this, we discussed keeping the main home so that kids wouldn't be uprooted, and then having an apartment that he and I would share, i.e., I would do a week in the house and he would do a week in the house. And then I just, at the beginning I thought to myself, this sounds great. This sounds fine. And then, obviously it's the worst idea on the planet. And I actually heard a friend of mine say that to me the other day, that she was thinking about that. And I was like, it's the worst idea on the planet. Let me tell you that. Because now you have children that are in the right in their home, but you have two displaced adults, right? So effectively, you are in a terrible situation. You're living in a house where neither of you can date, because what are you going to do? Bring lovers back to the new apartment that your ex-husband lives into. So you can't put photos up. What are you going to do? You can't put your new life up. Ooh, excuse me, everyone. Sorry about that. So you're never really settled. Like, the wonderful thing about, oh, goodness, there we go. The wonderful thing about getting divorced is, setting up your first home, choosing everything around you. That was so important to me. Like, just to make myself feel like, this is mine. Oh, so sorry. This is how it's going to be. And to make yourself feel happy again, because a lot of times at the end of a relationship, even though it's your home and your space, it doesn't feel like your home and your space anymore because you're so itching to get out of it. So I would say a shared space is the biggest fucking no-no on the planet. So take that out. No need to be kind in the beginning. Actually, I think set the boundaries from then on in, because the other thing I thought about was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. The other thing I thought about was, also letting him have breakfast with us every day. What was I thinking? That doesn't work either, because you're teaching the children this sense of normalcy, that's their new normal. But again, either of you gets a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it's going to be the three of you at the table. That doesn't work. You have to separate your lives as quickly as possible. Rip the Band-Aid off. Rip the Band-Aid off. And I think it's the grown-up conversation that you have, right? And this is like, okay, let's just say no cheating is involved. Because I understand when cheating is involved, someone's being caught, you have a lot more heightened emotions maybe than this. So there's a lot more anger involved. Let's just say love has run its course. A lot of us got married very, very young. And it just happens. No one's to blame. Again, I had this a lot with mine. Who cheated? Who did this? I never asked. I never asked my husband. Don't know. He's never asked me. It's not the problem. Cheating is generally not the problem, unless, of course, you're that poor man on at Coldplay. Worst story ever. But, I think it's just cheating is a symptom. Let's just put it down to that, right? And I think that, a lot of times for people of our age and people that got married in their early 20s, you're a different person. We all used to get married because that's what we're meant to do. And fast, right? A lot of pressure from parents, a lot of pressure to move on. And I've said it before and I'm saying it again. We're dying at 100 now. There is no rush. There's no pressure to get married and have children. It changes your life forever. Enjoy your life out of school. Know who you are. Choose your partner for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. Marry your best friend. Marry someone that you can build with. It's so important to have all of those things, that you can talk to. I think we lost the art of communication in marriage. So I think, when you start the conversation to break up, right, and you've been thinking about it for a while, it's a very awkward, very difficult conversation to have. And a lot of people put it off and off, or think it will get better, or, put one step in and then one step back. I always say, if you've thought about it more than a year on and off, fucking do it. Just do it. It's not fair on him. It's not fair on you. It's not fair on anyone to be living in this limbo where you're not committed. You don't want it. You don't want it. You just don't know how to say it. When did we lose the art of communication? Like, it's so weird. Like, I've just been sat downstairs with my husband now, literally ripping him a new one over our new business. Bust the label. And I have no problem talking to my husband in any way, shape or form. And he was laughing. He goes, I'm your husband. And I'm like, no, in here we work together. And, this is how you make money and this is how it's going to be. And so I have no problem communicating with my now husband. The poor guy's Sergio's got the wrath, but it's great too, because he knows how to communicate and he's not so antsy, I don't know. Like, I would hope the most mature thing to do is to sit down and just say, it's nobody's fault. I don't know what this blame game is. And I think everyone feels better on the outside world if someone's to blame. Today there's no one to blame. Circumstance is to fucking blame. Growth is to blame. If you got married in your early 20s, God forbid you're the same person now. Growth. Maybe your career took a different trajectory. You didn't know. Maybe you had the same goals and now you don't. It's as simple as that. And you shouldn't have to beg for forgiveness for that. All you need to do is sit down in a nice, quiet room in a nice way and say, look, I don't think this is working. I don't want this anymore. I don't, and then ask the question back. Do you think, are you happy? And have those conversations. And invariably, when you open up a topic like that, it doesn't have to be so horrible. Look, obviously telling children is never nice. It will never be a good thing. It will never be a thing that you do together with pride, obviously, because everybody goes into marriage wanting it to last. But invariably with the world, the way it is, as moving it is, the TV, the Instagram, everything that's so easily accessible to us, invariably most marriages won't work today. And, I try and instill that in my kids too, by the way. Not that, going into it saying it's not going to be forever, but if it's not forever, it's not the end of the world either. It's not the end. And I think, there are women who just can't move on. And it's such a shame because it's like if you lose a job or, you lose your home or maybe you've lost, your money. Is that the end? You sit down, you never work again because you've just lost all your money? No, of course not. You get back up and you try something else. You've lost your job. Well, I mean, most of you get your CV and go and try and get another job, or you get a side hustle or like, you can't just sit down for the rest of your life because the first one didn't work out. No one would get anywhere, would they? Like literally nowhere. Every successful person has had setbacks. Every successful person has had failures. Listen to them. And if you don't like reading books, listen to podcasts. There are many out there with successful women. I'm about to interview the woman that just sold her business for $2 billion. And I did the one, what's the lovely woman, moved from Amish town. I can't remember. It's just completely gone out of my head. Anyway, she hadn't even seen a newspaper till she was like 40. And she runs one of the biggest companies in the world. No, it's not over. And that is just as simple as switching things in your mind. If it wasn't your choice and your husband walks in and says he doesn't love you anymore, accept it, ladies. Accept it. It won't change. It doesn't change. He's not coming back, right? Begging, screaming, crying doesn't bring them back. In fact, sadly, it pushes them away. You want to go and have a glow up? Go have your glow up. I've been on a glow up since I turned 43. Just had my teeth done today, by the way. I wasn't sure I was going to do them, and I absolutely bloody love them. So happy. But I'm just this email that I got, and I'm going to read you extracts from it, from Kaya Smith, really, really hit home because she's like me. She's practical now. And she said these are tips that she wished someone had given her back in the day, and the truth. And, it would have saved her so much, so many sleepless nights. And I think, that's the thing. It's not that you shouldn't have hope and you shouldn't but have hope in the right direction, right? If he comes back, okay, great. Maybe you'll decide then. But your whole life shouldn't be, just waiting for him to come back. Because if it didn't work once, ladies, it probably won't work again. And I say that with all due respect and love. And I know there are people out there that are really struggling with this. But I really, really implore you to move on, because it takes your years, and you don't have years. Time is flying. It takes your beauty, because you can't glow unless you're happy. It takes your ability to earn money. No one's employing somebody who's miserable. It takes your friendships, because nobody wants to listen to that. And then invariably what happens, these women start drinking. Right? And I see it all the time. They start drinking to hide the pain. And then what happens is you make more of an idiot of yourself. Then you need to hide that pain. Then you become a constant blur of uppers, downers, things to sleep, things to wake up, things to give you energy. I have been on a detox since probably 6 weeks now. My eyes, my skin. And that's not to say I lie. I went out for a girls' lunch yesterday. I had 1 glass of wine. And that was enough. I was buzzed. And I had such a nice time. But I don't want to go back into I feel amazing. I'm conquering the world. Like, we have live shows right now. I'm in Housewives of London. I've got, the Shopping Channel. I've got BravoCon coming up. All of my, you're all coming to my retreats. I can't be a drunken mess. I need to be an aspiration to you, right? You need to respect me, to follow me, and nobody follows a drunken mess. And sadly, a lot of women at my age turn into alcoholics or people that just can't cope with life. So use alcohol in the day. And it's not cute. It doesn't help. And it actually takes from you, because you can't focus. How can you be the best that you are if you're constantly hammered? You can't. So, how funny I'm talking about this. This is Kaya Smith, right? So this is the email. I don't know who she is. Don't numb the pain. So this is something she sent me, and I'll just go through a few of them. That she said she wished she'd known before she got married, that would save some women so much time, money, and sanity. And I've just said number one, don't numb the pain. Don't drink through divorce. It is the key, because you become more pathetic to your ex too, by the way. Your friends, everybody looks at you, make sure, especially your ex is always watching and can use it as a weapon. Even if, and people just love to tell on you. They just do. It's in their nature. Oh, I saw her last night. She's in so much pain. Fuck off. So, you'd be amazed. The people that you think are on your side aren't always on your side, especially in a divorce. She says get therapy if you need it. If not, I just believe get on. Read books, stand strong, get up in the morning. And actually just the gratitude stuff that I do in the day, which is like wake up, say things that I'm grateful for, say it every night, just leaves you in a better mood. Deep breathing as well really helps, gets you through the anxiety, just the breath work, and listening to, oh my God, my brain these days, listening to meditations and things like that. But, if you need someone to talk to, a therapist is good, a friend that is not biased, very important, one that you really trust, but you don't want them feeding the rest of the people. And don't go around people that remind you of him all the time. If you're trying to break up, you don't need someone going, I saw him last night and he was out here. Don't. And then, this one. And I have said it again and again. Your lawyer is not your therapist. Your lawyer is not your therapist. Your lawyer is not your therapist. Ladies, I don't know how many times I need to tell you this before it sinks in. Your lawyer is not your fucking therapist. He will listen all day long to you and bill you $400, $300, $400 an hour for a good one. Don't think he's being kind. Don't think you're off the clock. I have a lot of friends that are lawyers. A lot. I still get a bill. It's really hard. Every time I see my phone ring and it's one of them, I'm going, oh my God, because I don't know whether I'm going to be billed or not. And they want to ask. Don't do it unless you're married to a gazillionaire. And even then, why? Don't do it. Think of the best way you can get divorced that's fair, and try and sit down, mediate, and use the lawyer at the end. It's so important. If you have things that you need to say to your lawyer, or you have proof of things, or friends have told you things, this is a good one. Save screenshots and keep them so that you can put it all together as evidence later. But don't keep sending text messages and this and that and treating them like they're your friends. They are not your friends. Most people, the only people that really, really win in a divorce is the lawyer. And especially when you have high profile. And I know a lot of high profile people. I don't really know a lot of people that have come out of divorce skipping. So why don't we be clever? Lawyers are not our friends. They're here to help or not, or even, a lot of times a lawyer can antagonize both sides, because it's in their best interest to keep this going as long as possible, or tell you there's more money than there is. Some women go into these things thinking they're hiding assets here and there and whatever. Maybe they are. But if they're hidden, well hidden, very hard to prove, very hard to find, and you might be spending all the assets that he has here that he's going to give you trying to find those assets you'll never find. Never. So take that as a one word of advice. Be reasonable. Think about it long term. And I always say to girlfriends of mine, don't give up your day job. Don't fucking give up your day job unless he's paying you every year. Like Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's got it down. I think she gets $25 million a year. I mean, okay, Catherine, you can give up your day job. No one else can. Again, it doesn't matter if your man is rich. You are not. Unless it's in your account, you are not. Because it's amazing. That man, the day you get divorced, you are strangers. I don't care. You are strangers. It takes a good few years to get over a divorce where you can all come into a room again and be fine, which is where I'm getting to now. But I mean, financially, I can't go to him for finances. That's off his book now. And that's the only thing we've ever fought about in this marriage. So, check also what state you're in. So, that's another very important one. Check the rules for your state that you're getting divorced. So a lot of women here have found it quite difficult. The rules are changing because it can automatically be Sharia law, which is very hard to fight. I have registered myself here everything, DIFC law. Also, ladies, I've done, I did a podcast on this. Prenup. If we had a prenup, we'd all know where we stood, and it takes the scary out of divorce. Do a prenup. If you're getting married, do a prenup. So just be smart and, understand, or try and understand sensibly. Because if you've lived with someone 20 years, sorry, if he's a billionaire or not. He wouldn't, in the bits where he really loved you, he wouldn't be hiding all this money and making you live a certain way and then living a different way himself. So don't, and I hear that a lot of women, I know he's got all this money, but you didn't live that well when you were married to him. I don't understand why he's been squirreling this money away for the day that he divorces you. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that he wouldn't, live a crazy life with you at the same time. So if you're not living the crazy life, a lot of people do smoke and mirrors and pretend they're richer than they are. I mean, I live in a country where they're known for it. Let me see what else there is here. Yes. So, don't let your friends get too involved. I would say that too. I think that's good. And, and your kids, your friends need to stay out of it. And I always say there goes the grace of God, any of us, right? And I think friends can get very involved. I lost quite a few friends through my divorce, which was hard at the time, but now I'm not ungrateful for it. I've started a whole new life. Actually, I saw some old friends this summer, but I started a whole new life. I wanted a new life. I feel like 18 years was a lifetime and I lived I looked different. I was different. I am different. I don't expect those friends to grow with me because they haven't grown the same way I have, obviously, because they're in the same marriages with different lives, much more grown up maybe than I am, who's skipping around town and still doing shows and maybe acting a kind of way that normal 50-year-old women wouldn't. So, it's okay that those women don't grow with you, right? Even here, I meet people, some stay, some don't. And that's okay too. And I've got much more at ease with people coming in and out of your life for different seasons, right? And different reasons. But, I don't like when friends get involved because I think, it's slightly smug because, just because you're 20 years in doesn't mean at 25 to 30, you may not be in my position, and I would think very hard about these things because even if there was infidelity, say there was infidelity in either side, right? Who are you to judge? Who are you to judge? Because you just don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you get swept off your feet in 10 years. And, and if you do, why can't you enjoy it? What is to say that, we have to live this life in purgatory from a choice that we made as a young person to the choice that we die and sacrifice ourselves for our families? Why? I just can't bear that view. Like, everyone has a right to be happy. Everybody. I don't care who you are. Everybody has a right. You have one life to spend it happy, whatever that looks like for you. I mean, what is the point otherwise? If you don't have a friend, and my children are leaving in 4 years. If Sergio is not my friend in 4 years, we're fucked. Because it's just the two of us. And the great thing is now, I can do stuff like I can run around just the two of us and I have a great time. The moment it's not fun for the two of us, we're in the wrong relationship. So remember that. Just remember that, ladies, when you're all looking down your noses at somebody that you've known for a long time, that you feel maybe in the middle of a midlife crisis or gone crazy. And we've all done it, by the way. Life is very long. And there's a lot of times that I see happily married couples now, obviously, instead of doing that and getting divorced, they're looking for other things. They've gone deep into, training and wellness and ayahuasca and finding themselves and sitting in Ibiza doing mushrooms to, and finding their inner child and whatever it is. Everyone's looking for something. Everyone, right? Nobody gets to 25 years going, oh my God, my husband's amazing, all the way through, and I've never looked at anybody else, and I've never thought about what my life would look like if I had this. Nobody. I just don't think that exists. If you'll correct me if I'm wrong, ladies, but I just don't get it. I don't get why everybody's so gung-ho on this. And I just do think the rule book needs to be written and re-looked at and remade. There's simple rules for everything else. As I said, if you lose a job or you don't get a job and think I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life till I die because I'm loyal and I'm going to stick it out and that's what I should do because I started this journey with this person, I'm going to end it with this person. That would be utter fucking madness, wouldn't it? Utter madness. Yes, now you're all nodding your head. It would. And the last thing, and that's the other thing. So that one of her last points was divorce doesn't define you. It doesn't tell people who you are. This whole thing that I'm a failure. I failed at the one thing I was meant to excel at. No, you didn't. Okay? Divorce happens for so many reasons. As I said, growth. Maybe, he's a workaholic. He's in an office all day. You come home, you've got different things to talk about. You've got nothing in common anymore. Happens all the time. Maybe you decide you don't want to be a stay-at-home mum. You don't want to look after children. That's fair enough. And he wants that kind of wife. Or, you become both workaholics and you all go all over the world. Working for me is exciting. Whereas, I think a lot of women are like, it's a status symbol. Oh, I don't have to work. I don't work. No, I don't work. Well, I mean, that's amazing if that's your choice, but it's not a status symbol. A status symbol is being able to choose. A status symbol, actually, some of the most inspiring women I know are mothers and they work. I have 57,000 fucking jobs and I can't see when I'm going to go down. So my husband has to come with me or we would not make it either. There's no way because I'm like, our whole lives is like running around doing stuff. And at the same time, we're having our adventures and we've built, that's why I would say work-life balance doesn't exist because our life is the whole cycle. That's why we do it together. And actually all the big people that I'm following right now that have very successful, like Emma O'Grady, the girl that sold Poppy, many, all work with their husbands because it's the only way. If you're going to be doing 14, 15-hour days, it's better he's with you. It really is, because otherwise that divide too, right? And our husbands, and luckily, we learn everything on the way. So how do you come out of a divorce with you go into it pragmatic, right? It is not about you. You are not alone. Many, 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 many people get divorced today. So I would say when you go into marriage, be prepared in the nicest possible way. Honey, what is this going to look like for me, and what is it going to look like for you? And then also, if, you're getting divorced, just to sit and look at it like a business in a way. Like, I would say I have the best business relationship with my ex-husband that I could wish for. We have a home in England that we run like a business. We have 3 children that are all over the world, going to different places, different schools that we run like a business. Oh, you go here, I'll do this, you do that. And there is nothing to argue about, because it is. And as soon as he says something I don't like, you know what I do? I go, okay, goodbye. Or I stop texting. End of. That's how you have a good divorce. And then the next day when you want to ask the question, things have calmed down. Because there's nothing to argue about. So, take your emotions out of it. Try to keep it like level. Try to think about, even if he's the one that's left, try and think about him too. Like, what makes you look like a cool power bitch who won't be beaten down? Do you think it's the crying, alcohol-induced, lying on the floor with 6 girlfriends and 10 bottles of wine around you that is going to be like, oh, that's my wife, really wish I had her back? Or the one that gets up and goes, fuck you, I'm going to look my best, feel my best, and act my best. This is what I want. We've been married this many years. This is what I know we have. This is, let's talk about that. If we want to talk about romantic things or ever getting back to, get it out of the way. If you then just re-fall in love before you get divorced, okay, then you can rip up the paper. But I would start the paper, ladies. Get on with it. Protect your mental health. Understand your rights. Putting it off doesn't mean he's going to change his mind. It means he's figuring out his own strategy. It means he's gathering his team, if he hasn't already, and he's just waiting for the right moment because he sees that you're upset. He doesn't want to add to it. He doesn't want you to fly off the handle because, it's never going to be what you want it to be. So you're never going to agree straight away, but you just have to keep level-headed. Try and be with somebody that knows him, knows you, and that can talk to you both sensibly. Try and keep your children out of it. Don't bring your children into these fights. It's not fair. It's not nice. There's no need, because it stays with kids. So if they see your parents, I try and do everything that no matter what I show up for, and I can be around him. And, now that the years have gone past and my husband's moving in with his girlfriend and I've got mine, I'm hoping we'll get to a stage where we can at least go on the same summer holiday, not in the, same house, but in the same summer holiday. It'd be so much easier. The kids can go between all of us. And actually 3 kids is bloody hard work because, as you know, most of them don't want to do the same thing. So it'd be absolutely ideal if we had a parent over there and a parent over there. So one of them can, 2 of them can come with me, one can go with him, and we swap over, and everyone takes it in turns, and it's fantastic. That's my next dream. Create a stable life for you and the kids. So as soon as you can, get back into your routine. Do not get into a routine of going out and partying. Is not a good look. It's not sexy. And as I've said, your friends are never, your friends Everything gets back. Everything gets back. And the number one thing I would say in all of this is change your perspective on life. Change your perspective. You are not losing, okay? You will find another man. If I've had a penny for every divorced woman going, oh, I'm never going to find anyone else, I'm so old. Fuck that. They're beating down with a stick. Let me tell you, men have never been more attracted to me as of today, okay? And I live in the Middle East. Like, I'm looking at my 50-year-old girlfriends. It was Tracy Tutor's birthday last week. Like, unbelievable looking. 50 doesn't look like 50 anymore. Women look fucking hot. Every young guy I know, Sergio's friends come over. They all want like a woman. There are gorgeous men looking for women, okay? And we are becoming more independent and powerful. What they don't want is a pathetic woman talking about her divorce all night. Nobody's going to date that. 100%. You know, victim mode. I didn't get enough money. I didn't get this. I didn't get that. Well, you didn't get it. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Does it help you? No, it hinders you. You know, move on quickly. Moving on quickly is the best thing you can do. I had a few rough years, absolutely, because mine was not normal, right? I didn't think I was going to go straight into a relationship. I thought I was going to date and do all these things, and I didn't do all that. So I had to navigate fitting a 24-year-old into my life, which was another whole podcast. But I was so busy trying to fit all of these things together that I certainly didn't have time to fall into victim mode. I couldn't, because if I fell, the whole fucking house of cards would have fallen. And today, look at where I am. Actually, I had lunch. I had lunch with a girlfriend yesterday, and the difference in just 3 years of where I am. It's crazy. Every year is more exciting and better. And I'm just beginning. You guys are just really getting hooked on all this. You know, the retreats are just starting. The shopping channel's just starting. You know, I'm not going anywhere. And I can say that with confidence. And that's an amazing place to be. And I don't think I was that confident 3 years ago. I was like, what the fuck have I done? I've blown up my entire life, you know. And don't waste the time thinking, what if, you know. I've never thought back to think what my life might be had I stayed. Because if I ever got an inkling of that, I was like, no. I remembered an argument or something. And I was like, no, I couldn't. And actually just talking sometimes things over with the kids just reminds me of what my triggers are and why we're not married in the nicest possible way. We don't talk the same language. And that's it. And that's enough. You don't need to catch him in bed. He doesn't need to leave all your money. It's enough that you just don't communicate. Everything else is easy in life. Life is a game. It's just a whole load of pieces that you're going to move around the table. And you need to learn to do that yourself. And that's the biggest advice I can give you, ladies, for getting through a divorce. I really can't. There's no handbook, obviously, and everything is individual. But the biggest advice is, and I wish I could come around there and slap so many of you in the nicest possible way. Pick up your shoes. Make them see what they've missed, who you are. You know, become your best version of yourself. Become the best friend. Become the coolest boss bitch. That's it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. Don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it.